Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Madhu, and today I'm going to talk about hiking in the U.S. West Coast and why I would recommend that my friends in the U.S. West Coast should do hiking on a regular basis. Uh, so actually, I have a small disclaimer before the presentation starts. Is that I've actually put the pyramid in the presentation, the actual pyramid with all the details. So I would probably just run through that slide without going into the details of it. Whereas the contents of the pyramid structure are covered in the forthcoming slides. Okay. So this was, this was the summer of 2006, and I had a very good friend in Seattle, and he said, "Hey, can you just get ready by 2 a.m. tomorrow? I'll take you to some place." I said, "Fine." I don't say no to my friend. So I said, "Fine." And then we woke up at 2 a.m. He drove me through, some places which I wasn't sure where we were going. And it was all kind of dark and kind of lot of trees were there and forests and things like that. And then I realized that we were on top of a mountain after about 2.5 hours, right? About 4:30ish. And I asked, "So what?" And then he said, "Just wait for some moment." And then just when the sun was rising at about 4:45 to 5 o'clock time, he asked me to look at the mountains, one single peak that was facing the sun. And what I saw at that time was a breathtaking sight. Because as the sun was rising, it was painting this fantastic snow-capped mountain into colors that you could never imagine. There was this violet, purple thing, then it became bright orange, then it went to a bright red, and all this was happening within a span of less than 5 minutes. Right? So at that moment, I saw something that, or I had an experience that I did not have before that time. And at that time, I felt so one with nature that I decided to have many more such moments by exploring the mountains of the West Coast. And the feeling that ran through my mind at that time is summarized by this quote by Einstein, which says, "Look deep into nature and then you'll understand everything better." Because it was a very soul-filling experience, that single moment for me, which was a turning point in me. Right? Now, I'm going to tell you, my friends, why you should actually do more of hiking in the US West Coast. The US West Coast is a pretty diverse area in terms of the number of landscapes, variety of landscapes it supports. You have your towering mountains that are part of the Cascade Ranges that are there in the Washington state and the Oregon state. And then you have fantastic beaches all through the West Coast, right till California. And then you have beautiful waterfalls that span the Cascade Ranges in Washington and Oregon. And then you have a marvelous crater lake that was formed out of a volcano. And then you have other types of landscapes such as ridges and valleys and whatnot. So in essence, there is one landscape that will interest every personality, right? If you like waterfalls, there is one for you. If there is beaches, there is one for you, and so on and so forth. So, being in the West Coast, you should take some time to actually explore that landscape of your interest, right? And then some of these have breathtaking views. I mean, I cannot just say or even convey in pictures how beautiful these places are. For example, the frozen lake that is shown here was taken on a hiking expedition that we did at 6 a.m. in Mount Rainier. And this is a photograph from my own camera. Right? And this is, so when you start the day early, you get to see such kind of breathtaking views. Right? These are kind of poster pictures that you can see, And then there is this fantastic lakes and the places where the coast meets the land along the Californian coast that you must see and you must take time to enjoy. It's not only about the views, there's much more to it. For example, if you are an avid fan of wildlife, then there is something in it for you as well. Because in my experience, if you go either during the early morning hours or during the late evening hours, is when you get to see real animal encounters. Say for example, this was a black bear and its small cubs that I saw about 10 feet away when I was hiking in Mount Rainier in the Northern Cascades. To me, this is a very soul-filling moment because you are there, you are part of nature, and you are seeing nature in action, right? To me, this is a great feeling, and this is being one with nature in the true sense of that phrase. And you can see so many other wildlife that you don't get to see in India, for example, mountain goats or bighorn sheep or whatever it takes. So just the diversity of the wildlife is so great that you can enjoy a lot. And then hiking is not only about views and having a great visual experience, but it's also about health, right? So most of us, due to our stressful lifestyle, we have at least some of the things that are mentioned here, like heart disease or diabetes or bone density, like knee pains or whatever. So in my experience, I can say that I lost at least about 5 to 6 pounds when I was continuously hiking the mountains. And my hikes were usually around 5 to 10 miles on an average round trip, right? And it's not only about the physical health benefit, it's also about the mental health benefits, because you feel that you have your weekend very well spent, you have disconnected the maximum away from your daily routine, and so you feel less stressful, less anxious, you are ready to take on the next week with a better state of mind than otherwise if you had not hiked. And for people who love solitude, just taking your car and going away to the mountains, just an hour's journey, is a fantastic experience. Just to get away from people, be one with nature, be in your Zen moment, meditate or whatever, right? And there is additional motivation why people would want to do hiking. See, I get great pleasure in not only doing the hiking, but also recording the hikes that I have done and presenting the data and sharing the data with my friends and encouraging them to do the hiking, which is what I'm currently doing right now, right? So I gain great joy when I, at the end of it, see that I have covered like so many miles, 9.5 miles round trip with a duration of 5 hours, and I can share this information along with pictures and other such trivial details with my friends and encourage them to do it. And I feel a great sense of accomplishment when people come back and say, hey, I looked at your pictures, I did the hike myself, I got your experience, it was fantastic, thank you for sharing it. Nothing beats that kind of a feedback that I get from friends. So it gives great pleasure in tracking and sharing the trip details with my friends, and it also kind of gives a very good soul-filling experience for yourself. The best part about it is hiking does not require any great expenditure, right? These are the bare minimal needs of hiking, which is you just need a car filled with fuel, you got your hiking boots, poles optional, your gear, binoculars for wildlife, and nowadays everyone has a camera, so investment in a camera is not really a big deal. So given that it's a very healthy, given that it's a very low cost, given that it's a very, very soul-filling activity, I would recommend that my friends in the US coast to get up early in the morning, explore the wilderness, and have a nice time and make great use of your weekend before you get ready for the coming week, right? So I would like to end with this quote which says, there's no Wi-Fi in the forest, but I promise you will certainly find a connection with nature, which is the single most yearning that every human being has in himself to do. So with that, I conclude and I rest my case. Any questions?